The Illini are ranked 17 in the premier AP poll. Is that too high? Is that too low? Honestly, I don't know.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. My name is Verma, your host here at Locked On, where I continue to provide you coverage each and every day. Everything you see or hear is absolutely free, but if you want to feel generous, if you want to feel nice, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and make sure you hit the like button on this video so that this goes out to other Illini fans across the world. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about, this week, I'm going to kind of focus more on basketball. Obviously, we're, for the most part, a basketball school. Let's be honest. We've been heavy on football coverage, of course, because it's football season. But as I said, usually for me, the Big Ten Media Days is the unofficial kickoff to whatever particular sport. In July, it was the college football side, and last week it was basketball. So first, I wanted to start off with those of you who tuned in yesterday, you saw the KenPom rankings came out, and Illinois debuted at number 6. Well, today, as I was alluding to on yesterday's episode, the AP rankings have come out, and Illinois is ranked number 17 in the first ever poll. Now, this is one of those where this is actually the highest we've been since the 2021-2022 season, at least according to Sahil Mittal. In 2021, we were number 8 in the preseason rankings. 21-22, we were number 11. Then 2022-23, we were 23rd. 23-24, we're 25th. And this year, of course, we are 17. Other Big Ten teams in the polls, Purdue is number 1, which I don't think should shock anybody. That's a team has a lot of pressure on it. It's make or break time for Matt Painter. If he's not able to win it all this year, I think I'm going to have to question myself as a Boilermaker fan when he can win it. Purdue's number 1, Houston number 2. Let's just skim through. Let's get to the Big Ten teams. Michigan is at number 7. Then we have UCLA at number 12. And then Illinois is the 4th ranked Big Ten team. And again, I've been trying to fight back and forth in my brain where I would have ranked Illinois in the Talk Illini Discord. My prediction was we'd be ranked number 19. Just because it's hard to get a feel of what this basketball team is going to look like. We already had so many questions coming in with all the newcomers that are, going to be playing big roles on this team. If you're an everydayer in here, I'm very big on Mihailo Petrovic. Obviously, Andrej Stojaković was one of the premier transfer portal signings of all college basketball. And those two guys are going to be maybe 2 of the 4 or 5 best players on this basketball team. But we don't know what they're going to look like in an Illini uniform. We saw what Stojaković did in the ACC playing for Cal, but how does that translate to the Big Ten Conference and the Illini? And then you have the issue of, are those 2 guys even going to be on the court? Mihailo Petrovic took forever to get cleared by the NCAA, and quite honestly, he hasn't been cleared by the NCAA yet. So we don't know whether he's going to be ready to play on day 1 when the season opens up. We have an exhibition game, I believe it's on Sunday, against Illinois State. I have no idea whether Mihailo Petrovic is going to be on the court with his teammates. And neither does Brad Underwood. Brad has made it very clear that they've done everything that they can. And now all they're simply doing is waiting on the NCAA. And yeah, this is frustrating. I don't understand. If the whole process is done on one end, why does it need to take so long on the other end? There seems to be no structure in place with various players. You do a simple Google search or Twitter search, players are getting cleared by the NCAA left and right. But Illinois, for some reason, always has to wait longer. Tommy Avicic, we found out the week of when the season ended. Now, can we get that same sort of good news this year with Mihailo? I hope so, because that non-conference schedule that we have coming up, that's not going to be easy. Just to let you know, out of the top 25, these teams are on Illinois' schedule coming up this year. Number 1, Purdue at Mackey. And by the way, shout out to Recruiting Guru for organizing this for me. Number 3, Florida, which is a close scrimmage. Number 4, UConn at Madison Square Garden. Number 7, Michigan at a game that I'm going to be at in Champaign. I believe it's February 27th. Number 10, Texas Tech. Number 12, UCLA at Pauley. Number 15, Alabama at the United Center. Again, a game I'm going to be at. Number 18, Tennessee in Nashville. Number 22, Michigan State at Breslin. And then you have number 24, Wisconsin. By the way, I think 24 is way too low for Wisconsin. I'm buying stock in that Badger team. So you're talking about a very intimidating schedule, both non-conference and in conference. And so it's going to take a really good basketball team to be able to continue to extend the streak that Brad Underwood is on to win 20-plus games every single year. And if you told me that all offseason long that this full team was playing together and they were developing that chemistry and camaraderie and understanding each other's likes and dislikes on the court, even then I would be relatively confident that this team could win 20 games, but not 100% sure. But with so many question marks this year, with the fact that when Andrej Stojaković was playing, well, Mihailo wasn't on the court. They weren't practicing together. And finally, when Mihailo was cleared to at least practice with the team and come here, well, then Andrej Stojaković got hurt, which I haven't even gotten to yet. Stojaković, again, the number one offseason signing, one of the top signings in all of college basketball, transfer portal this past summer, he is injured. How long? We don't know. Nobody knows. And so how do we gauge what this team is going to look like when two of arguably your top 4 players, well, we don't know whether they're going to be on the court or not. This is just one of those seasons. And, I know last year I had similar issues in the sense where, well, we're replacing that 10 new guys on last year's basketball team. We didn't know what that team was going to look like, but at least we knew the guys would be on the floor. If Mihailo Petrovic is not playing game 1, game 2, game 3, then who's the other guard? Are we really counting on Keaton Wagler? I know he's become the name that everyone loves shouting out. And, let's be honest, Brad Underwood and Colin Boswell, well, they're guilty of doing it themselves. But that's a pretty big responsibility that you're putting on a true freshman. Brandon Lee, another kid who, maybe he can play against the likes of an Illinois State. But do you really want him? Do you think he's really ready to play teams like Alabama? I'm the optimist, okay? Most of my everydayers in here know. And sometimes people say I'm too positive. I don't know if I want to put out 2 freshmen playing meaningful minutes against this top-tier schedule. Not to any fault of these 2 kids. I think they're going to be really good players. But look, I've hyped Keaton on this show myself. I've done maybe 2 or 3 segments over the past month and a half talking about how I have heard great things about him. But I want him to be the 7th guy on the basketball team. Maybe the 2nd guy off the bench. If you put him in a very meaningful starter's role right off the bat, are you maybe possibly setting him up for a goal that he can't hit? But what other options do you have? That's the frustration behind all this. And that's why, you could tell me Illinois was ranked 17. I'd be like, okay. You could tell me Illinois is ranked 11. I'd be like, okay. You could tell me Illinois was ranked 25th. I'd be like, okay, fine. Because it's hard to assess what this team is going to look like. The guys that we have coming back, Tomislav Ivisic, Colin Boswell, Jake Davis, who I'm going to devote a segment to this week. My everydayers in here know I've always been a fan of his. And after the Big Ten Media Days, I think he's going to have a bigger role than people are maybe acknowledging. I like the core pieces that we have coming back. And that's why I do think it's going to be a good basketball team. I just don't know how good. And now being ranked at number 17 gives you an idea of what the AP poll writers think. Now, how much weight are we going to put into that? Not much, of course. This is really just a talking point. But at least we kind of get an idea of what the analytics are saying. As I talked about on Monday's episode, you had number 6 in KenPom, number 7 in Bart Torvik, and now you're talking about number 17 in the AP poll. This is kind of the reverse of what happened with football season. In football season, we debuted at number 12 in the AP poll, and we were pretty high up in all the national writers rankings and whatnot, but it was all the analytics. Well, those actually had Illinois much lower. I'm talking about the 30s and the 40s when it comes to the best teams in the country. Now, who's going to be right? On the football side, we're still trying to figure out where Illinois is ultimately going to settle down. In basketball, again, we don't know. Is this a top 10 team? That's what the numbers suggest. Or is this a team that's going to be right around the 20 range, which is where we're at with the AP poll? None of us really know. I think ESPN also had us at 16. So it's one of those where, basketball season right around the corner. Exhibition is less than a week away. And yet I have just as many questions about this basketball team as I did in midsummer. What's this team going to look like? I don't know. I have a pretty good idea that they're going to be decent to good with the ceiling of very good. But beyond that, I don't know. Let me know what your predictions and whether you think 17 is too high, too low, or just right. Let me know in the comment section. The holidays are going to be here before you know it, which is exciting, but getting your home ready for guests and celebrations can feel like a lot. Maybe your serveware needs a refresh or guest room needs new bedding. Wayfair has everything you need to get your home holiday ready, from Christmas trees and wreaths to bedding, cookware, and outdoor inflatables. It's your one-stop shop for every room in the house. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every style and budget. And with free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff, you can get everything you need without the hassle of huge delivery fees. I love how easy it was to find pieces that fit my style and budget. Everything was in one place, and checkout was a breeze. The delivery is fast and free, which was a lifesaver during these hectic times. Now, instead of stressing about getting the house ready, you can actually enjoy the holidays with friends and family. Get organized, refreshed, and ready for the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I'll tell you what I love about FanDuel. Sometimes I want to bet a player prop. Sometimes I want to bet a team total, maybe an over and under. Whatever I want to do, FanDuel will allow me to do it. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, we're mainly going to be talking about basketball this week, but I did want to go over the all-22s from the Ohio State game. Unfortunately, I have not gotten it yet. So usually on Tuesdays, I do kind of a grading section for how the different units looked. Well, I can't do that, but what I did want to do before we get back into basketball is kind of just assess the moment. Okay, Illinois football is now sitting at 5-2. And unfortunately, for the first time all season long, we've fallen out of the AP poll, and we're ranked unofficially at number 26. We're the team with the most votes that isn't in the top 25. And so that kind of leaves a damper on things. I feel like a lot of fans right now are kind of disappointed on that end, but I don't want to speak for anyone else. And again, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I absolutely do. But I also want to give my honest assessment. And if I'm being honest, at 5-2, I think we are right where we actually no. Now that I think about it, I predicted us to be 5-2 is exactly what I predicted. So we are where I had predicted us originally. 5-2 with the dominant part of your schedule being done, I think is pretty a position I'm kind of okay being in. We still have a very tough game coming up against Washington at Washington after this bye week. But after that, Illinois should be favored in the remaining amount of games that they have left. Again, after Washington, you're going to have Rutgers come to Champaign. Then you get another bye week. And then you have another home game against Maryland. Then you travel to Camp Randall for Wisconsin. Then you have a home game against Northwestern. And then, of course, December 6th, we're going to be playing in the Big Ten Championship in Lucas Oil Stadium. Now, if you're listening to this on podcast, I definitely gave a wink there. By the way, if you are listening to this on podcast, please leave a 5-star review. Those really do help out, I've learned as of late. But again, there's not many teams out there that have 3 home games left on their schedule. Illinois is in a position now that they've done the hard work. And you know what? They've come out pretty fine. They've got 2 losses, and that second loss against the number 1 team in the country, by the way, has knocked you out of the top 25. But again, those 2 losses that you have are against the number 1 team in the country and the number 3 team in the country. In my opinion, it's the 2 best teams in the country. I would take Indiana over Miami right now, who's currently the ranked number 2. But outsiders don't see it that way. The numbers favor us. I believe I saw that the numbers have Illinois with the 4th hardest schedule up until right now. And so knowing that. Now, keep in mind, this isn't preseason, right? In preseason, anyone can generate numbers on what projections could look like. And, but we don't know because the season hasn't played out. Now the season has played out so far. And having the 4th toughest schedule isn't hypothetical. This is absolutely based on games that have been played and the data showed and the analytics. So Illinois has had a gauntlet. There's only 3 teams that have had a tougher time than Illinois up until this year, or up until this week. And yet, here we sit at 5-2. FanDuel's over-under was at 7.5 for the year. So again, out of our remaining games, we need to win 3 out of 3 out of the 5 in order to hit that. Now, I feel pretty confident against the Washington game. I think we'll probably be underdogs, but slight underdogs. Maybe less than a touchdown is what I would guess right now. Let's see how they fare this upcoming week. But outside that, I think we're going to be favored in every single game. And originally I was really nervous about that Wisconsin game. Traveling to Camp Randall, I said in the preseason that, maybe at that point, the players are fighting for Luke Fickell's job, that they have such a tough schedule that it's a must win for them. But I'll be honest, I've been watching that Wisconsin Badgers team. I've made a lot of friends with the community that covers them. They've given up. That 37-0 loss to Iowa may have broken that team. And I know a lot of people said that about Illinois after that Indiana game, but you saw how they bounced back against USC. And then they, a game that was supposed to be perceived as a trap game against Purdue, they came out and Illinois beat the spread in that game. Wisconsin looks like they might be done. And Luke Fickell might be joining James Franklin in the unemployment line very soon. And so I would have perceived that as the toughest game, especially because it's away. And we all know the drama between Brett Bielema and Luke Fickell from the last time that they played. And just Brett Bielema's history with Wisconsin. I thought that was a game that I had circled for a lot of drama and something you have to be worried about. But quite honestly, right now, I don't know how worried about that game I am. If anything, the game I'm probably most worried about on the upcoming schedule is Maryland. And, if the game was at Maryland, maybe I'd feel more concerned. But Maryland's lost 2 in a row as well. And they're traveling to Geese Memorial Stadium for that game. And so all of a sudden, is this just a traditional Loxley? We win our first 3-4 games and then we just kind of fall off the rest of the season. If that's the case, then how worried are we about that game either? Now, I'm not trying to be cocky here, right? Illinois fans, as much as I love this football team, I've also addressed that there's clearly a lack of top-end talent on this football team compared to other teams in the conference. And so you'll always have games where the opposition can just kind of sneak up to you. The game's closer than it needs to be, and you just happen to lose. I still think about that game last year against Minnesota. That loss against Minnesota essentially cost us the opportunity to go to the college football playoff, which Indiana took advantage of. And although they lost in the first round of their game. And the same thing could absolutely happen this year. Of course, you have to stay healthy. All of this is always contingent on just staying healthy as a football team. And we don't have any updates on Khalil Valentine or Caden Fagan. Obviously, because it's bye weeks, usually the coaches speak on Monday and they give us updates on injuries. Well, we haven't heard anything because it's the bye week. So we'll probably have to wait another week or so before we hear any updates on that. But hopefully Khalil is okay. Hopefully Caden is okay. But at least we know Aiden looks like he's okay. And he played a pretty big role in that game against Ohio State. But other injuries, we're just kind of on standby. And obviously that could dictate how the rest of the season goes. But overall, you've got to feel good right now. I feel like the fan base feels worse now because we've dropped out of the top 25. But to me, it does not make sense how we dropped, 9 spots after a loss to the number 1 team in the country. The spread was 15.5. We lost by 18. So it's not like we embarrassed ourselves on TV that day. You know, it was a game where clearly Ohio State didn't play their best game, and Illinois had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. I do think there was opportunities and game script for Illinois to have kept it closer. It unfortunately just didn't work out that way. But it is what it is, you know. But the thing is, again, you've got that part of your schedule done and over with. There's nothing we can do about that Indiana game. If you see my mentions on social media at the Sunny V, I vented my frustrations about USC being higher than Illinois. And literally, you see a bunch of people responding saying, hey, when you lose to a team by 53 points, you have no right to complain about not being in the top 25. And, you know, unfortunately, that is the perception for now. Unless Illinois can really show some impressive wins moving forward, even if Illinois finishes 10-2, I don't know if I'm that confident that Illinois will get that college football playoff spot over maybe an SEC team that goes 9-3. And it's unfortunate because really it's just we know the fault when it comes to these AP polls. It really, some of these writers don't pay attention like they should. And unfortunately, Illinois just does not get the benefit of the doubt. And again, the 53-point shellacking is something that everybody here remembers. Not here. Well, we, of course, remember. But for the most part, the national folks, the fans who aren't just Illini fans, if you ask them to bring up an Illinois game this year, they're not going to bring up that 45-19 victory over Duke, a Duke team that right now is 3-0, a Duke team who my buddy Kevin Ducey says is predicting it's going to beat Georgia Tech this upcoming Saturday. Look, if Duke wins the ACC, that could be one of the best advertisements for Illinois football this year. The fact that we beat them 45-19. So we're all Blue Devils fans from here on out. Just like we're going to be big Maryland fans. Just like we want Purdue to win. Just like, quite honestly, and this makes me feel sick saying it, we want Indiana to essentially go undefeated the rest of the schedule. Ohio State to go undefeated in their schedule. Washington has looked really good. Washington is another team, just like Illinois, probably more so than Illinois, that should be ranked in the top 25. But they're not. We want Washington to lose to Illinois, then win every game thereon after. It's unfortunate we don't really control our path anymore. We should be able to, but I just feel like outside biases are going to dictate that we're going to need a lot more help than we can control ourselves. But again, overall, looking at the big picture, if you had told me before we kicked off in that first game against Western Illinois that after 7 games going into the first bye week, Illinois would be ranked, but be 5-2, I would have looked at that schedule and I think I would have taken it 10 out of 10 times. Especially even at that point, I didn't even know how good this Indiana team is. So now that I look back on it, this Indiana team traveled to Oregon and beat Oregon by 10 on their home turf. They're a very good football team. The other loss that we have is, by the way, the number 1 team in the country. At 5-2, I think I'll take it. There's things I wish we could improve on, which I'm going to talk about later on in this week when I kind of assess the different units. But overall, team-wise, 5-2, I think I'm happy. How about you? Let me know in the comment section. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pull up Game Time every time I'm thinking about going to a game. I see the price and I click on the button so I can see exactly what the view from my seat is going to be. If I like it, I'll go ahead and purchase a ticket. It makes it that easy. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, the promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go. Download Game Time today. My apologies. I've gone a little long on this episode, so I'll keep this third segment pretty quick. Obviously, we're in the bye week when it comes to football, but I wanted to bring in a lot more basketball discussion this week. What I'm going to ask you guys is if I'm going to do a mailbag episode, maybe on Friday, if there's some questions that you have that you want answered. Sometimes I don't know what you guys want to know, right? I can use my best judgment, but maybe there's a particular question, both on the basketball or football side. Let me know either in the comment section right here, or you can send me an email at talkillini@gmail.com, or send me a message on your favorite social media. Or probably the place to do it is find me at the Talk Illini Discord. The link should be in the description here. That's the quickest way. I mean, that's just conversations happening all day, every day. We just finished our second Locked On Community meetup. The first one was at Wrigley Field over summer. We just had our second at that Ohio State game, and we're going to have our third right before the Alabama game at the United Center. So if you're an Illini fan and you're going to be in town, or at least you're going to be attending that game and you want to meet up with all of us, let me know. I can set up details for you guys and let you know where we're all going to meet up. But otherwise, yeah, let me know what questions you might have. Basketball, whether it's recruiting, football, recruiting is, whatever you have on your mind. I say all the time that it's my show, but I've got full control over everything. There's no red tape here. So if I can make this just as much your show as it is mine, you can help me direct where things should go. So if there's something you want to know, please let me know. Thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On Big Ten. Craig Shimon breaks down the most exciting conference in college sports, from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On Big Ten on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. That's going to wrap it up for now. But again, I'll be assessing. It's basketball preview times. All right, I'm going to be previewing the guard rotation, the forwards, the centers, basically the different units on both basketball, and we're going to do assessment on football as well. Just a lot of content for you. Make sure you don't miss a thing by being subscribed to this channel. Thank you all so much. We've hit 3,500 on YouTube. Again, it's my goal to hit 4,000 by the time we kick off the official basketball season in a couple weeks. So if you can help me out, share this with your other Illini fans. But until next time, ILL. Love you guys.